Chapter 11. As the store quieted down, Lana and Adelmo found themselves with some free time on their hands. Lana glanced at the clock and realized it was time to leave to pick up Sierra. She turned to Adelmo and mentioned, "I have to go get Sierra." Adelmo quickly reminded her, "Actually, Nick is picking her up today." Lana's face lit up with relief as she exclaimed, "Oh right, I completely forgot about that." Just as Lana was about to head out, a sudden influx of customers flooded into the store, causing a sudden rush of activity. The once calm atmosphere quickly turned chaotic as the store became busier by the minute. Lana and Adelmo found themselves caught up in the whirlwind of serving customers, restocking shelves, and managing the increasing demands of the busy store. Time seemed to slip away as they focused on attending to the needs of the growing crowd. Despite the initial lull in business, Lana and Adelmo found themselves in the midst of a bustling store, with customers coming in one after another. The sudden change in pace kept them on their toes as they navigated through the chaos of a busy day at work. As they worked tirelessly to keep up with the demands of the customers, Lana couldn't help but be grateful for Adelmo's reminder about Nick picking up Sierra. The day had taken an unexpected turn, but they were both determined to tackle the challenges that came their way. Lana and Adelmo had been browsing through the aisles of the store when the clock struck 3:30. At that exact moment, Nick arrived to pick up Sierra from school. The young girl eagerly hopped into the car, excited to head over to Lana's house to gather her belongings. As they pulled into the driveway, Sierra clutched the key in her hand, a key she had retrieved from her pocket. With a sense of familiarity, she unlocked the door and stepped inside, her eyes immediately falling on her belongings neatly arranged next to the entrance. Sierra took a deep breath and began to wander through the house, each room holding memories of the time she had spent there. A sudden tickle in her nose made her eyes water, but she fought back the tears, not wanting to break down in front of Nick. Despite her efforts, as she continued her journey through the house, the realization that she would have to bid farewell to this place started to sink in. The weight of the impending goodbye began to weigh heavily on her heart. As Sierra gathered her bags, her emotions finally spilled over, tears streaming down her cheeks as she struggled to come to terms with leaving behind a place that had become a second home to her. Each item she packed felt like a piece of her heart being torn away, a physical representation of the memories she had made within those walls. With a heavy heart, she bid a silent farewell to the house, knowing that it would forever hold a special place in her heart. After wiping her face, she grabs her bag and makes her way out to the car. With a sense of urgency, she shuts the door behind her, making sure to latch it securely. However, as they start driving, a sudden gust of wind hits the door, blowing it open and leaving the house vulnerable to potential intruders. Despite her initial efforts to secure the door, the unexpected turn of events catches her off guard. Upon arriving at Sierra's aunt and uncle's house, Nick pulls into the driveway, and she steps out of the car, preparing to greet her relatives. As she approaches the door, she turns back to Nick with a somber expression, bidding him farewell with a wave. Nick reciprocates the gesture, staying put until the door is opened by either the aunt or uncle. Sierra knocks on the door and is greeted by a warm smile from the lady who answers. Recognizing Sierra, the lady welcomes her inside, expressing her excitement for Sierra's new lifestyle. As they enter the house, Sierra glances back one last time, still wearing a sad expression as she waves goodbye. The door closes behind her, leaving Nick feeling a tinge of regret, but also a sense of hope for Sierra's future. With a heavy heart, Nick drives off to return to work, hoping that the decision to leave Sierra with her aunt and uncle will ultimately lead to a better outcome for her. The bittersweet moment lingers in the air as Nick reflects on the events that have unfolded, unsure of what the future holds for both himself and Sierra. As the day wore on, Lana and Adelmo found themselves inundated with a constant stream of customers, causing time to slip away unnoticed. The bustling activity of the store kept Lana on her toes, but the overwhelming number of people began to take its toll. Amidst the crowd, she couldn't help but catch whiffs of various scents emanating from the customers. Some of these scents were so overpowering that they made her feel queasy. forcing her to retreat to the bathroom to relieve herself. Despite her frequent disappearances, no one seemed to question why she kept leaving her post. Meanwhile, Adelmo's attention was drawn to the peculiar pattern of book purchases. He couldn't help but notice that the majority of books being bought were the same ones as the previous day, all centered around the topic of pregnancies. However, one particular purchase caught his eye, a book titled Witchcraft Pregnancy. Intrigued by the unusual subject matter, Adelmo couldn't help but wonder what secrets lay within its pages. Unfortunately, amidst the chaos of the busy store, he never found the opportunity to delve into the mysterious book and satisfy his curiosity. As the day wore on, the bustling activity gradually subsided, and the store began to quiet down. Lana glanced at the clock and realized that closing time was fast approaching. With a lull in customer traffic, they seized the opportunity to start their closing routines. Despite the stillness that enveloped the store, Lana and Adelmo worked diligently, tidying up the shelves and preparing for the end of the day. The contrast between the earlier chaos and the current tranquility was stark, but they knew that their work was far from over. Nick saunters into the store and makes his way over to Adelmo, casually asking, "How's everything going?" Adelmo responds, "Oh, everything's just peachy. You timed it perfectly. The store was as busy as Grand Central Station about 20 minutes ago." Nick shoots back with a mischievous grin. "You keep saying that, but I swear I've never seen a soul in here." Adelmo chuckles and retorts, "Well, I can't have you losing sleep over my financial situation now, can I?" Nick's tone suddenly shifts as he looks at Adelmo with a hint of concern in his voice. "You're really doing okay, right?" Adelmo reassures him, "I'm hanging in there, don't worry. One of these days you'll catch on to my sarcasm, I promise." Nick visibly relaxes, relieved to hear Adelmo's response. He then spots Lana and decides to check in on her, asking, "How's your day going, Lana?" Lana pauses her task and replies, "I'm managing, maybe a tad better than yesterday." Nick nods approvingly. "That's great to hear. If you guys need anything, just give me a shout." Lana smiles appreciatively and responds, "We know. Thanks for looking out for us." Nick gives them a nod and a wave before continuing on his way through the store. Adelmo and Lana exchange a knowing glance, both grateful for Nick's thoughtfulness. As Nick disappears around the corner, Adelmo turns to Lana and quips, "Well, looks like we've got our very own guardian angel watching over us." Lana chuckles and shakes her head. Who knew Nick could be so caring? The two share a laugh before getting back to work, feeling lucky to have such a considerate colleague. Lana paused for a moment, deep in thought, before speaking up again. "Oh, by the way, how was Sierra when you drop her off?" she asked Nick. He responded, "Actually, that's why I came in. She did all right. She was pretty sad, but that's to be expected when you're attached to someone you care about. Keep an eye out, though. She might try to run away from where she is now, just to find a familiar place. It's pretty typical behavior, so I thought I'd give you a heads up in case she pays you a surprise visit." Lana nodded and said, "All right, thanks for letting me know." Glancing at the clock, Lana realized that it was almost closing time. She turned to Nick and said, "We're about to lock up. You can stay if you want, or you can leave. It's up to you." Nick thought for a moment and replied, "I think I'll head out. I just wanted to inform you about Sierra, and that's about it. I'll see you all later." With that, Nick made his way towards the door. However, just as he was about to leave, he turned around with a big smile on his face and said to Adelmo, "Hey, if you're planning any trips in the future, let me know. I'd love to come along." Adelmo smiled back and replied, "Sure thing. I'll definitely keep you in the loop for sure." Nick strolls out of the door, leaving behind a bustling shop. As soon as he steps out, Lana swiftly gathers her belongings, ensuring she doesn't forget anything important. The two of them exchange a quick glance, silently acknowledging the end of their workday. With a sense of finality, they lock up the shop, securing it for the night. Turning towards Adelmo, Lana casually mentions, "I'll meet you at home." Adelmo, ever the caring partner, responds with a gentle reminder, "All right, drive safe." Lana's face lights up with a warm smile as she playfully retorts, Of course I will. The couple leans in, their lips meeting in a tender kiss, bidding each other farewell. They then proceed to their respective cars, ready to embark on their separate journeys.